We are live. Let me hit record. Peace to the family. This is the Mandala God, episode 1. I am the Hood Mystic, your lovely host. We're going to do this one for the podcast, but we're also going to be on YouTube. So if you want to catch a visual, just some light visual for the actual audio, just be sure to hit the links in the description. But to my YouTube family that's tuned in and tapped in, live and direct, let's deal with this information. Now, what is a mandala? A mandala is a secret hidden technology within all of us. And the energy of finding this inner technology might be constituted by following a white rabbit down a rabbit hole. Now, you could call these chakras, you can call these portals, you can call these wormholes. And what we're doing is saying different names for the same thing. We are essentially black holes, sons and daughters of Kali, primordial beings of technology, magical, divine entities of the deepest and most wonderful magnitude of all times. But the reality is that nobody is telling us this. So for everybody that wants to grow and ascend, you're going to have to go within yourself. I know it's a lot of shit going on in the world, and I would be one to say I don't pay attention. I observe. But I'm not going to be afraid of no damn boogeyman out here in these streets. I'm going to utilize my inner technology. I'm going to learn my inner technology. And since I understand that it ain't all about me, I'm also going to share. So with that being said, your greatest greatness is in assisting your brother and sister. And if you're going to help anybody, help me. The Cash App is $Hood Mystic 38. The link tree is also in the description. And if you think I'm only going to do Patreon readings once a month, you are sadly mistaken, family. I will be doing a weekly Patreon moon sign, astrology, random question, live every single week. You know why? Because I did like a whole year of not doing nothing for y'all. So guess what, family? I gotta catch up. So be prepared for those every Friday. And right now at this particular point, I'm a little disadvantaged. I do not have my trusty dusty laptop. I'm actually on my crusty dusty desktop. So if the transmission is a little rusty, if the transmission is a little toasty, just be a little patient with me as my laptop get out the shop and I get into my cozy little office space and start dropping content on y'all head on the daily. Y'all gonna be really in for a surprise. But I'm under a sort of level of resurgence and I'm gonna tell y'all why. But this is episode 1, Mandala God. We are going to talk about astrology of the week. I'm going to tell y'all how God is my goal, and I'm going to deep dive into why I'm going through this sudden transformation and this sudden download and channel from the great Atlantean NANBOZO. I'm so thankful and fortunate that I'm tuned in and tapped into authentic, true spirituality. You will not hear me regurgitating shit that I heard 20 years ago from a dusty crust steal from and regurgitate to my larger following. Oh no, we coming with the real deal, Holyfield spiritual downloads. But let's just dive right into the astrology of the week. The astrology is going to be broke into 3 areas. We have relationships, we have politics, and we have spirituality. But right now, let's deal with these relationships, because at the end of the day, we all for the shits. I had to do this video today because tomorrow is the 14th and Sun will actually be setting up to be exactly opposed Neptune. Now the sun is going to be in sidereal Leo. Neptune is going to be in sidereal Pisces for the most part. It's not really in Aquarius, but for mandala's sake, because in reference to this astrology, I'm not going to tell y'all how I didn't come to this astrology. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell y'all exactly how I came to the astrology. So what you'll see in these readings is the sun in Leo 27. 27 is the Sabian symbol. So you can Google online the constellation Leo, the Sabian symbol 27 degrees, and get some understanding. You can do the same thing for Neptune, Aquarius, 27, and you'll get different understandings. But I trust your mind. I trust the way that you process things. And honestly, I'm not going to have you argue with me every day. I know what I know, and I come to the conclusion that I come to the conclusion, and you obviously are going to come to a different conclusion. But the energy of Sun opposed Neptune would be the illumination that authentic emotions cannot be faked. And where would this show up at? This is going to show up in our relationships, ladies and gentlemen. What you'll realize is that, of course, you love your husband, of course, you love your wife, but you also love sincere, authentic emotions. And the reality is that our obligations could never present authentic emotions, because the fact that you are paying the rent is awesome, but it ain't like you are like jumping over joy, fucking kicking, going heads over heels, like calling up the landlord like, I am paying the rent, baby. No, you're not doing all of that. You like, here go the rent, here goes a third of my income that I work for. However, I do love my wife. So in reference to our relationships, in reference to our businesses, our career, all of the places that we might find ourselves at today, it's very important not to act like you know what you know, when the reality is you don't know what you don't know. So I'm a different type of spirituality type of person. Most people will come on the spirituality kick, then they'll say, I'm a specialist, I know a whole bunch of shit that you don't know. But the reality is, I might know a little bit more than you, but not that much. The reality is that we are all on the outside looking in, because in the reality of the grandest scheme of things, our technology is found in raising our kundalini. Now, I may be on the forefront leading edge of this understanding of the technology, but as far as understanding it, I need you guys to do the work. And once you do the work and come through with the downloads in the mystery school, the link is in the description. Share your experience in reference to your spiritual development. And this is how we know things that we never know. See, a lot of it is based upon the fact that we have not been taught that we don't know shit. We have only been taught that if you pay me $59.99, you will know more than the next. And as long as we perpetuate that lie, we will never know anything. The idea of learning is to dive deep into the mystery, to dive into the unknown. Now, the unknown is something that Bobby Hemmett don't know, Brother Pennick don't know, Phil Valentine don't know. Nobody knows, because it is unknown. Not just simply unknown to you, but unknown to everybody. So whether it's Dr. Fauci, whether it's whoever, it's such a beautiful ride to be on your Pegasus going into nothingness. And that's the vibes of this Sun opposed Neptune. Because when you understand a Leo Sun, it's like preparation for the grandest of all stages. And Shakespeare once said that life is a stage. Now, do you understand that if the life is the stage. What does that mean? That means whatever you decide to do, whatever decision that you decide to make, is just surely simply your decision. Doesn't make you awesome, doesn't make you better, doesn't make you deep. It actually don't mean shit, because the world is a stage. Just make sure when you choose your role correctly based upon how you feel. But if you never took a chance to understand your authentic emotion, then you would go into a relationship, go into a marriage, go into a business deal, and ultimately, you wouldn't be able to understand the fact that everything is based upon spontaneity. Everything is based upon the unknown. The problem with our emotions is that we act as if we know shit and we're special for some weird reason. But the truth is, you never know what you'll never know, because the reality is that you'll never know. Every day when you're 80, you're waking up into an unknown reality. When you're 180, you're waking up into an unknown reality. There's never a day that you wake up into permanence. There's never a day that you wake up into mastery. The deepest reality is that when you are in those types of spaces, you're actually dead. So be careful in wishing to be great. Be careful in wishing to be immortalized. Because essentially, from the channels that I've gotten from NANBOZO, this great energy that y'all are wishing to, this patriarchal energy that y'all are wishing to live up under, is actually leading you to death. You should follow the white rabbit into the void, and he or she will teach you immortality, because you can get Bugs Bunny or you can get Babs Bunny. It just depends on what bunny crosses your path. So Sun, Trine, Pluto, we're going to deep dive into some politics throughout the week. September 6th, the Sun moves directly into the constellation of beautiful, wonderful Virgo, and it comes into a perfect trine with the plutocracy political Pluto. And as it's transitioning out of Sagittarius, the third decan of Sagittarius, if anybody has ever recorded a reading from me and I've ever mentioned the third decan of Sagittarius, I would say that decan has a lot to do with working. That decan has a lot to do with having a job or having a boss, and understanding that if you're having a negative energy or a negative confrontation within your employment, you are not supposed to be there. If you have an attachment to your employment where you feel like, if I leave here, I'm going to starve, well, you haven't been bettering yourself to the highest ability. It's very important to understand that that job needs you more than you need that job. And if you don't feel like that, it's not the supervisor, it ain't the manager, it ain't the owner, it's you. And the third decan of Sagittarius is getting through that catharsis of self-motivation that you're going to need when you transition into Capricorn. Now, Capricorn rules the 10th house. The 10th house is all about career leadership, ownership, entrepreneurship, working in a team. To have entrepreneurship, but not being in a thing where you're just kicking your feet up, but you're understanding to be the star in your particular role. So it's Sun in Virgo, things are getting real. Pluto and Capricorn, things are getting real. Now, you might be feeling pressure from your employer, and you might feel discriminated against. And I really would hope that you would tap into learning a specific skill. And I know like people would be like, no, Hood, I'm discriminating against you for not knowing how to spell discrimination and using proper punctuation. But see, the difference between me and you is that I can correct my shit on the fly and you stay stuck in your rigid way of thinking. But as I process my self-judgment, I'm moving forward with this conversation, Discrimination is the opposite of generalization. Generalization is an overall viewpoint in reference to how life should be. Discrimination is when you're able to look at something, weigh the thing out, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you, and make a conscious decision. And the world is kind of crazy how if you're one-sided, you might be like, well, I don't want to get discriminated against. But the reality is, you actually do want to get discriminated against. You want somebody to come to a conscious decision about how to move forward, because the opposite of that is generalization. So what I say is that the government is very smart. The government is very crafty with its disposition. So what has happened with this vaccine mandate energy, this Sun, Trine, Pluto energy, is that we don't understand that we are the true authority. And how are we the true authority? By our emotions. See, because we don't organize, because we don't know, and how we don't know how to structure, we get emotional. Now, it's very simple. If I told you, if you knew how to build something and you were tasked with building it, you wouldn't stress out about building it because you know how to build it. But if you had no idea how to build it, so in your relationships, you know how to be successful in your relationships, you're not stressed about your relationships because you know how to be you know how to be successful. See, the reality is that you're in the relationship because he is sexy or she is sexy because she turned you on sexually. But that is not a relationship skill, ladies and gentlemen. You must have the skills to succeed in your relationship, and this overrides the emotions that come from not knowing. So most of us do not know how to be successful and how to tap into our authority or tap into our discrimination. So when these specific things happen, we just tune in and tap into our powerless understanding of reality and how it stands. And this is the goal. The goal is to get you upset. The goal is to get you angry, because as long as we can get you fearful, as long as we can get you angry, we can control you. And if you're on social media and your friends and you sending group texts back and forth, you spewing out this anger, is counterintuitive to Sun, Trine, Pluto. So Sun in Virgo is your everyday energy becoming real, especially in the first decan of Virgo. You're really learning a new skill. And this new skill should be something that you're conscious of, because Leo is the realization. You can just call Leo Shakespeare, right? Leo is the choosing of the life that you want to live, choosing of the relationship that you want to have. But if you're not strong enough, it's mainly because you don't understand your authority. It's mainly because you're in the space of generalized thought. Well, everybody does this. Everybody does that. Well, I thought everybody thought like that. Well, no. In reference to divinity and divine thought, one has to look at everything with a deeper introspection. Everything presents itself with a rabbit hole. This is discrimination. You should never look at a face value aspect of a situation and then say, let me emotionally respond to that. Especially no matter what. Because in reference to the Sun in Leo is a deeper catharsis or a deeper breakthrough that is all not real and is all based upon how you perform. Meaning that the relationship that you establish, you could say they cheated and they done me wrong, so I'm gonna treat them like shit. Or you can say this is the only thing that matters is how I feel, so let me contribute to my relationship in the most positive, fruitful, amazing way, even if it's paying the positive attention to yourself. Because in reference to relationships, not a real relationship, you want to see your partner win, right? And your partner should want to see you win. So your feelings and your emotions is the true thing. But I'll tell you one thing, when you look at the internet, when you look at like just society in general, you can see this at a goddamn wedding reception. The clout, how people view you, is all that people are going for. How people see you, how people feel you. Well, that's just the first house. You got the second house, third house, all the way to the 12th house of self-development. And our people really only develop their external appearance. Even more so this weekend, people was all upset about Lil Nas X and Normani and Tiana Taylor because of things that they seen on the surface. In reference to the deeper details of all types of shit that you really could have been paying some attention to, mainly your personal life. And that's the real goal. It was another thing that I was seeing on a Facebook site, and they were saying how people were like, I just feel so drained. I feel so worn out. I feel so tired. And me personally reading that, I didn't comment that. I didn't say anything, but I was thinking it's very clear that you've given your power away if you're tired. If you're not driven to share, if you're not driven to make a better reality or produce a better feeling in your life, for your family, for your children, for your wife, for your husband, if you're not driven by that, then you're not going to understand the days and times of today. Why would you just wake up? Like, I could never imagine just waking up and watching a movie and acting like this day isn't important. Like, how is this moment not important? And like, what is, like, you can't get yesterday back. It's gone. And tomorrow, I can't be patient enough and wait for tomorrow. I just don't have that in me any longer. Tomorrow is a concept, and even deeper. Are you 100% sure that tomorrow is even existing? Like, have you ever existed in a space called tomorrow? Or do you only exist in this space called now? So Sun trine Pluto is very like time travel-y type energy, especially the Sun in Virgo going into Libra. This is Arcturus. Like, this is very like, okay, within us all, our spiritual technology, there is a space within us that time doesn't exist. We are walking time machines. We can choose the reality that we want to choose. I'm tired of y'all niggas choosing oppressed. I'm tired of y'all choosing victim. And then y'all choose it, and then the world treats you like that, and now you pissed off. Think about it. If you chose God, if you chose Goddess, if you chose Supreme, if you chose Father, if you chose Mother, if you chose Great, if you chose Illuminated, if you chose Atlantean, see, all of these things are what you are. If you chose Divine, you are this. If I told you that you wasn't, you get offended. But you're not telling it to yourself. So Sun trine Pluto is you really affirming and tuning into your inner rabbit hole. Like, I would hate to have to listen to conscious niggas beat your ears up and not tell you that the power is within you. A conscious nigga get on here and talk to you for hours about books that you need to read, about cartwheels that you need to do, about backflips and stretches and rigmarole and laws that you need to learn and paperwork that you need to do and changing your name and all this type of shit. And trust me, if that's for you, it's for you. But I'm here to come with a completely different message than anything that you ever heard in your life. Within you is the technology of God. And if you choose not to utilize it, the world will piss you off, because NANBOZO is a trickster in the fact that he can't trick you into your power by giving you positive experiences. Because if he gave you positive experiences, it would go straight to your ego, and you wouldn't give honor and understanding of the spiritual journey. So in reference to the negative energies that you may be experiencing, it is a trick to tune you in to your internal. Now, I'm going to give y'all a scenario and I'm going to tell you how spirit works, but I don't want y'all to get to this scenario. I want you to stimulate these energies so you can tune in and tap into the higher consciousness. It's a such thing as called pheromones, and I've been chatting with some of my friends in the DMs and they've been sending me messages, and I've been just really like I be doing these lives on Instagram, and when I'm done with them, I just delete them because I just might say some shit that I really ain't really supposed to say, but I say that shit. So I'll be talking about pheromones and hormones and stuff like that. But when you eat good, when you like clothe yourself, and when you wear like colognes and perfumes and oils and all of these particular chemicals on your vessel, you are suppressing your hormones and your pheromones. And I love my black women, so y'all not gonna like what I say when I'm about to say, but I'ma still say it anyway, because I'm not the type of nigga that lie. When you put weaves and lace fronts and all this type wigs on your hair, you are blocking your pheromones. Now, it's not to say that women who wear weaves are single, because that wouldn't necessarily be the case at all. But in reference to attracting, in reference to your natural odor, your essence is a pheromonal experience. And in combination with the flowers, the Venusian flowers that you can utilize within your steam, you then could utilize those essences from those flowers. But see, the thing of it is, you can't just buy a steam from Mama Mystic. Or I bought a steam from Mama Mystic last year. You took a bath last year too, sis. Is you still living off that rep? No, I take a bath every day. Okay. We talking about real science. We talking about real pheromones. We talking about real energy. We talking about that womb. We talking about the pollen. We talking about the queen bee energy. We talking about rabbits. We talking about mating season. And from what I understand, y'all doing a lot of shit to cover up your essence. And the man can tell you this. But y'all not gonna listen to a man. So I'ma just leave it at that. Venus square Saturn, which takes place later in the week, but we can talk about it now because all transits, you feel the energy 5 days before and 5 days after. So we're in the realms of Venus square Saturn. Venus is exalted in its home sign Libra. Saturn is exalted in Capricorn. What does this mean? And really, I'm tying a bow on these kind of conversations because we could really get to a point where we know that our authentic emotions can't be faked, but we can't understand and separate truth from fake shit, especially if people being ambiguous to us, when people are taking us and leaving us. So for Venus to be exalted in Libra, for Saturn to be exalted in Capricorn, it's like seeing the king or the queen for the first time and just be like, yo, what up, cuz? That's a nice little crown you got. But have y'all seen Roscoe? Like, you would never do that. If the king and the queen is in front of you, you might bow or do some crazy shit. And I'm just talking about, like, in theory. I know y'all's high and mighty, hoity-toity, would never bow to nobody. But in theory, if you was living in 1872 in England or some shit, and the king, Venus, and the Queen Venus and the King Saturn came across you, and you were just like, yeah, whatever. Nah, it's a real type energy. So Venus is our subjective love, and Libra is the deeper desire of marriage. But the actual skill of marriage in Libra is communication. Okay? But in reference to relationships that people have in 2021, y'all like to cut the lights off and try to, connect the dots. And hopefully y'all PPs line with y'all wee-wees and y'all get the things typing. But the conversation towards deep, intimate bonds are not happening. It's easy to judge, it's easy to criticize, it's easy to say what you gonna do for me, it's easy to say what we ain't gonna do together. This is why marriages divorce, this is why people have kids out of wedlock, because y'all not talking about y'all deeper, intimate bonds. Y'all just cutting the lights off and having sex, and then worrying about the outcome later. However, if you can be able to communicate a burning desire, this is the key. Because Venus in Libra is the reality that you want something. Now, what you want can happen because it is unknown. And Saturn is more tuned and tapped in to, are you valuing your vessel? Because a lot of times y'all can want a relationship outside of wanting yourself. You want something so bad. I mean, generally, you have to be able to be honest with yourself. And once you're honest with yourself, you're going to do the thing that is most valuable for you. But Saturn in Capricorn is not for your delusion or illusion. It's not for your suppression. It's not for you faking the funk. It's not for you showing up in a way that everybody around you is like, yeah, you great, but you ain't doing great shit. No, if you are what you say you are, you'll be able to communicate it. But to really want something, you have to communicate it, but you also have to position it in a way that you're consistently in that space of burning desire. Because when you first met your boyfriend, it was all of this burning desire, and y'all was cutting the lights off, and y'all was having sex, but y'all wasn't having a conversation. Maybe Venus was in Aries at this particular time. But Venus is exalted in Libra, meaning that Libra is an air sign. It's not a physical sign. It's not an emotional sign. It is the ability to communicate that which you deeply desire. Now, this could be economics. This could be knowledge, right? But you cannot get into relationships and feel like, oh, you are cute. You are sexy. There is no conversation around that. And so many people have made relationship decisions, even to a point will say, well, I would never date a person that's ugly, Kyrie. I could never date a person that's ugly. Well, you're saying that because you're not able to have a conversation in reference to what you truly desire out of your relationship. You want it to be this romantic joyride. And the reality is that it needs to be a constant conversation of burning desire. Because that's what gets shit done. A lot of times you have these ambiguous relationships that turn out to be hypergamous, meaning that they level up on your ass because you know that a woman is going to level up on you if she's not communicating burning desire. If she's treating you with attitude, if she's treating you with negative energy, she don't want you anymore. And if you ain't a masculine man, you can't even check her on that shit. I would hate to come home and a wife complaining when I'm in the relationship with her. But that happens all the time. You probably complained about your situation, not even knowing that you was in a relationship. And the relationship needs to be fostered. It's like having a fire pit in the middle of winter and not lighting it, complaining it because you gotta light it. At a certain point, you're gonna freeze to death. So it's very important within your adult relationships that y'all learn to communicate burning desire or separate. Because y'all are not doing anybody a disservice but giving them negative energy. So what is the most valuable thing for you? What are you attempting to achieve? And once you figure out what you're trying to achieve, you're willing to be consistent, you're willing to communicate, and you're willing to be accountable. I said you're willing to be consistent, you're willing to communicate, and you're willing to be accountable, or else you don't really want it. You want to play some TV games, you want to play some beauty games, you want to play my vagina is so good game, and none of that shit really matter in the real world. I was communicating to my wife when we were driving over the weekend, how have you ever signed the deal and they just said, you know what, you look so good, you don't even gotta sign this deal. You ever just like, you know what I'm saying, like real paperwork, like going to the courthouse or something and just overlooking the whole process because of how a person look or how attractive a person is? It wouldn't never make sense. So why would it make sense in choosing your relationship? So of course we got a lot to learn, because of course if you don't know what you don't know, how would you ever seek to learn? So hopefully you in a place where you willing to learn things that you don't know so you can have the ultimate goal. And relationships is the ultimate goal. To be successful in your relationships is the ultimate goal. But if you're not able to communicate and have a space where you're able to say some real shit about what you're willing to achieve, then the relationship is going to be a prison. So outside of the astrology, I just want to share a space in creating miracles in your life. I know you might feel like you're having a difficult time. You listening to conscious niggas talk about a whole bunch of shit that don't matter, and you trying to get a solution. I say it's a solution right in front of you right now. Within you is what they call God in the Bible. God is within you. And if God is within you, if I ask you, what is your goal today? And you say, my goal is to get a bubbled eye Benz on 20-inch rims. So did you know that? We talk about this every day. You know my goal. I want a bubble eye Benz on 20-inch rims. I will ask you, my friend, how do you attempt to get a bubble eye Benz on 20-inch rims? And you say, I don't know. I've been doing rituals. I've been doing spells. I've been saving money. I even got me a second job. I started a OnlyFans. I started a Pornhub. I'm going to get that bubble eye Benz on 20-inch rims one way or another, Hood. How close you got to that goal? Well, right now, Hood, I got $10.56 saved up. Oh, you got $1,056? That's good. No, I got $10.56 saved up, but that's a long way from where I was last week. How much you have last week? $10.54, Hood. I've been saving for a year. I'm making progress. I said, maybe you're not making the progress like you think you're making progress, and maybe you're going about it the wrong way. How about if you make God your goal? Well, Hood, I'm not religious. I don't like going to church. I gave up church a long time ago, and you're really triggering my sensibilities right now. And I say, I didn't say Jesus. I didn't say the Lord. I didn't say standing on the pews. But I did say the inner God within you. I did say within you is a technology. I did say you was a magical being. I did say that you are a divine being having a human experience. And if you didn't fully affirm that reality within yourself, how about you affirm that? How about you make that your goal? To not give up the fact that you are a divine being having a human experience, as opposed to saying all of this bullshit that you trying to get. You trying to get more money. You trying to get a love in your life. You trying to get, and you got a relationship, but you ain't happy with it. You got money, but you ain't happy with it. You got a house, but you ain't happy with it. You keep thinking that goals is going to, you invested in crypto coin, but you want to invest in more crypto coin. Wish you had more money to invest. It's always more with you. But what if you just said, I don't care. Think about how powerful it would be today Just for now, because I'm going to come here and I'm going to have a different message in the following days. But for today, wouldn't it be so fucking awesome if you said, my only goal is to find the God within myself? You don't even tell nobody that. You affirmed it within yourself. You gave up the goal for the bubble-eyed beers on the 20-inch rims, and you was clear with it too. You didn't say, I'm gonna give it up to get it. No, you just said, I'll let it go. I'll let my only goal be to find the God within me. And the reason why I present that to you is because I know for a fact that you could establish that. I'm not sure about the bubble-eyed Benz on 20-inch rims, because I don't even think they make that car no more. I think they took that out of stock. So, in just case you can't find it on Car Trader, I want to give you something 100% guaranteed. The God within you. How do you get there? Forgiveness. It's not going to the bully from the 5th grade who gave you a wedgie, gave you a big wedgie, turned you upside down, gave you a wet willy, flushed your hair down the toilet. It ain't about you going to your old neighborhood, knocking on his door with his wife and kids, playing football in his backyard, and say, you know what, Rollo? I forgive you. You're gonna look at you and laugh so hard, because that's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is in the etymology of the word. It is to give yourself something in the future. So when you're able to give yourself the gift of tuning into your inner God tomorrow, see, the thing about tuning into your inner God is that you can't get a car if you were to die. Right? You can't get a car. But if you were even to die, you could tap into your inner God. That's the beauty of tapping into your inner God, because it gives you a solution in all circumstances. If you ain't have no feet, if you was homeless, if you was poor, if you was a baddie on Instagram, if you was a dusty ass nigga walking up and down the streets of Columbus, you could forgive yourself the power of tuning into your inner God tomorrow. And see, what a conscious nigga could never offer you is that he is going to offer you something, but it's going to be $59.99. You best believe that. What I gave you right now don't cost you nothing. To forgive yourself, to give yourself your godhood now and forever. And even that is one leg to a table. You're gonna have to share. I cannot go through all of this cool shit and not share. And I have to keep it moving forward. If you're not trying to grow with me, I can't stop my growth to say, hey, I'll wait. This ain't war. This is spirituality. This is cosmos. This is being present, staying in alignment. All of these things that are said, but when it comes to conscious people, it's just more of $59.99 will get you through. So I'm gonna end this message with a message from NANBOZO, or Nana Bush. Okay, I've talked about this energy ever since COVID. I got some old videos. You can type NANBOZO, Hood Mystic, where I'm talking about this ancient Indian spirit. And if you check my IG stories, I'm always catching rabbits and things of that nature. I'm always talking about the rabbit hole. I'm tuned into the NANBOZO spirit, but about a year ago when COVID happened, I had two distinct dreams. I had this dream about driving down 375 in Detroit downtown. And then we came to Detroit to visit, and we was on 375 leaving downtown. I'm like, man, I dreamt about this place. Then I had another dream about Mackinac, and I was telling my wife how it's this city. It exists, but ain't no cars. And it's a whole bunch of water there. But people be there and they be driving bikes. And my wife was like, that's Mackinac. I said, damn, I dreamt about that place. And so my wife was like, yeah, that's like 8 hours away. I'm like, damn, 8 hours away? Yeah, it's at UP. But my wife be doing that sometimes. You know, she be always putting extra hours on the trip. So I just never thought about it because there wasn't no way I was about to drive 8 hours and shit like that. And then my boy Dion hit me on Saturday. He was like, well, he hit me a long time ago. He told me about this place called Lake Preserve. And we went to Lake Preserve. It was these rocks, but they was high vibrational rocks. And I'm just like, it was John's birthday. And I was just like, I had some money. So I was like, I want to do something for John's birthday, but we didn't have nothing planned. So we didn't even know. And I wasn't about to take these kids to Dave & Buster's no more. Wasn't about to take them to Chuck E. Cheese. Cause like, that's what the older kids got. John, he really liked nature. So I, went to the house, started looking online for cool things to do for kids. I found the International Skydart Park. And I was like, what the hell is the International Skydart Park? And I was reading it and it was saying how you could see the stars at night. And I was like, say less. And so I looked online it was like 4 hours away and it was about like 3 o'clock. So I was like, 4 hours away, we'll be pulling up at 7. So I was asking my wife, like, if we pull up at 7, do you think that give us enough time? And then I was like, for real, I want to see what this International Sky Park is about, so we really can just kick it. Like, so we ended up driving up there. We get there, go eat some whack ass food, and then we go to the International Sky Park. And so we put it in the GPS. Mind you, we don't know where we're going. We don't know what the hell is entailing. I'm thinking I'm gonna go to this park. There's gonna be a building. They gonna give us some goggles, and they got mad telescopes or some shit. Like, I don't know what this sky park is about. It's in Mackinac City. It's 4 hours away from Detroit, and so we dark. It's literally just dark, and I don't like. No street lights, no lights, no nothing, just like Coming to America or something, darkness. Like, it's just the darkest shit you ever seen. And so of course, if you driving somewhere and it's just the darkest place ever, your intuition is just to turn around. But we done drove this far, so we just like, we just creeping along, inching away. And by this time, I was like white girl wasted. So my wife was driving, and I probably was trying to vacation a little bit too early. But anyways, long story short, we pull up into this parking lot, and my wife get out the car first, and all I hear her say was, "This is amazing." Meaning that you didn't need no goggles, you didn't need no special equipment. You saw everything. All right, you saw every single star up in the sky. It was so beautiful, family. Like, I felt so privileged to witness the cosmos and all of their glory, minus the light pollution. And I dreamt of this place, and it's like, I study astrology, but I'll be on on the computer, looking online, whatever, just getting how I live. But like, being able to look up in the sky, family, no light pollution. So imagine if it wasn't no buildings, no street lights, no pollution, this would be just our everyday experience, right? But we got all of this high technology and shit like this, all of this high fashion, and all of this life that we feel is living, right? And we crazy disconnected from the light show. So our ancestors, imagine that every night our ancestors look up in the sky and see them stars. You don't gotta tell them about God. You feel me? You don't gotta tell them about nothing. All of this technology and all of this industrial revolution, its greatest thing that it does is that it disconnects us from spirit. So northern Michigan, it shuts down like after September. So for the full moon, me and my family is going up there for the 20th. So if you in the Detroit area, y'all want to make this like a family thing, we definitely need to do this. Cause if you on the channel, that means you like stars and shit. Like you can't be listening to me and liking star. I mean, like, what the hell happened? If you listen to me, you like stars. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to witness the stars with your own eyes, no telescopes, like, it's crazy. And that's just one story. The second story, we go to Michilimackinac, Fort Michilimackinac. First thing we did, because we stayed the night, we seen the stars, went home, went to the room, and and then after that we woke up, and then went to go get some breakfast, and regular stuff, and then we did the Mackinac Bridge, drove from Mackinac to the Straits State Park, and just looked around, seen some other parks, didn't know the area too much. Then we came back across the bridge. The Mackinac Bridge is bigger than the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a huge bridge that connects one peninsula of Michigan to the other peninsula of Michigan. Huge bridge, but that was an experience, and the energy is just different up there, like, because it's just pure Michigan. Like when they say pure Michigan, like that shit is no cap. Like, I'm a city boy, always been a city boy, and just never really experienced life outside the city. And even when I travel, it don't really even compare to like driving northern Michigan. It's something different about that energy and area. So as I conclude this message, I was getting this channel from NANBOZO, and he was telling me about Mackinac, and then I was at Fort Michilimackinac. And like me, if y'all know me, I like to go into the museums, like to go into the bookstores. I've said this before, but this proved it. When you go to these museums and these bookstores, you're going to find literature that you're not going to find on Amazon. And the literature is going to be more connected to the area, more than like somebody who ain't never been there. So they got a lot of literature in the Fort Michilimackinac bookstore. So I go in there just looking at the literature. All of the books is Reggie. I'm not about to get none of these books. And then I just see this book like the ancient lores of Mackinac, and I'm like, okay, it's a red book. I'm just like, I'm grabbing this. I grabbed it without even thinking. Like, I did not think twice about getting it. And I just got the book and hopped back in the driver's side. And then my wife just casually just started talking about NANBOZO, and I'm just like, wait a second, why is you talking about NANBOZO right now? She like, he all through this book, like it's about 10 mentions of his energy in the book. I'm like, wait a second, that's my man's man. Like, and it's hard to get information on, bro. Like, basically I could have been really on some like weird stuff. Like, his energy is so strong, but it was purely psychic of how I was tuning into him. And when I find like books talking about him, it's surreal, because it's like, damn, I be really tapped into shit, and I don't even be realizing how tapped in I be. But then it's like, okay, I also realized that this is Atlantis, and I also realized that NANBOZO is a man now. At first, I just thought that he was a rabbit, but this book has taught me that he was a great man that died. And when he reincarnated as these rabbits. And that makes more sense And he's also like a genie. He helps you better your life and better your situation. And this conversation that I had, it's a stream of consciousness that hopefully it brings you into your source. It brings you into your rabbit hole. It brings you into your inner dimension. And once you are able to tune into your inner dimension, you got it. If it was a person online telling you to take their class, to wipe their ass, to do a dance, to fall into a trance, tell them, give them 2 middle fingers. You feel me? Find your rabbit hole. Do your chakra work. Do your shadow work. Affirm that you are God. Affirm that you are goddess. Because the trick is that you are not. You understand that? NANBOZO. I've been doing a Mercury working right here. I got a Mercury candle burning. I got a Mercury candle burning. And if you in the mystery school, we've been talking about Mercury a lot. So Mercury is NANBOZO. NANBOZO is Thoth. Thoth is the Atlantean. And it's like Atlantis created Egypt. Like when people left America, they went all over the world. They went to India, they went to Norway, they went to Egypt, and they created civilizations. All of these civilizations are remnants to the Atlantean energy. And the Atlantean energy can be found in Michigan. The black men and women, the bloodlines of Detroit, Michigan, mainly East Side, because I ain't gonna get into that. I ain't getting into no politics shit. But yeah, the deep-rooted soil of Detroit is Atlantis. Now, if you go on Woodward and Jefferson, what you're gonna see is a gateway. What you're gonna see is a Stargate. Okay?